This is a clip from a live stream that I did discussing the Powell pivot. It's exactly what I've been saying for months. The Fed has no more latitude left, and Jerome Powell has decided to pivot. This is the extremely important parts of the market that I think everyone needs to be aware of, because this is what institutions are listening to. The institutions are reacting. Why? Because the NASDAQ is at an all-time high, while doom and gloom boomers are still crying. We're going to get to this clip. We're going to talk about what happened in the Fed press conference. We're going to talk about what pivot the Fed has made here from a rhetoric point of view. And I want you to subscribe to the channel, because subscribing to the channel helps me spank the YouTube algorithm to get Bitcoin content out in front of people so they can actually start taking steps in line with what's going on in the market, rather than waiting to be screwed over by the institutions afterwards and once they're too late. So please subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video. Let's get over to it. This is a segment from the live stream that I did on Jerome Powell and the moves that the Fed has made to pivot away from a tightening cycle. And the prediction, I make a prediction in this stream about when I think the first rate cut is going to come. Let's get to that right now. Well, the Fed already paused. They basically just said we're going to keep where we're at. But then Jerome Powell took the stage. And again, for anyone who's watching this video that, live stream for the first time, live stream is an opportunity for me to just hang out with you guys. This is not a proper video. This is not, where we're all professional and I say professional in a weird way, considering it's like me and a camera talking to you guys generally on a video. But this is not like the professional videos. This is an opportunity for me and you guys to hang out, talk some bullishness, crack some jokes, and have some fun. So basically, what happened was that Jerome Powell decided to get up on stage and unleash the holy hell of bullishness that you could ever think of at a Fed meeting. Now, why did he do this? He did this because they've over-tightened on rates by 150% more than what I think they should have done. There's a 40-year trend line on the Fed funds rate, and that trend line was broken at around 2%. And they're now sitting at 5.5%, right? So they've broken it by 150%. Any thoughts on Richard Hart? I don't have... You think I spend time thinking about Richard Hart? Like, you really think... This is the stupid things people ask me. It's like, what do you think about this guy? You really think I have time to sit around thinking about a guy? I don't do that. I don't know how you spend your days thinking about men. I don't understand how that works. Now, Jerome Powell decided to get up on the stage after the Fed decision and turned around and basically unleashed and uncapped all of the bullishness that everyone has been expecting because of the Fed rates. The Fed rates have been tightened too much. They've been tightened too much after 2%. Anything after 2%, I believe, was too much. And they have now basically had to prepare the market for a reversal. Now, here's what I thought was going to happen, and here's what actually happened. What I thought was going to happen was Jerome Powell was going to get up on stage and say, hey, we've tightened this, and we think, it's okay for now, but if you guys fuck around, you're going to find out, because we will increase the rates more. He didn't do that. He got up on stage, and he said, we as the Fed need to start looking for those moments where we can start loosening up some of the tightening that we've been doing. That's what he said. That's what he said. Instead of saying that if you guys mess around, we're going to tighten this even more, which is what the whole street was expecting, which is what everyone was expecting. And so the markets took off. The NASDAQ reached a new all-time high. And the S&P is less than 0.5% away from it. I want you to hug a doom and gloom boomer. I want you to hug a $10 a month DCA gang member. I want you to hug a $1,000 net worther that was telling you that the United States of America is finished and that in 2023 we're going to see a resurgence of inflation like we've never seen before, and the whole market's going to crash. Bitcoin's going to go to 5,000, 10,000, 12,000, whatever the fuck thousand. And you better get out because the market's going to go down and the yields are going to stay up for the next 20 years. I want you to go find one of those people and hug them because they need it. They need it right now. They need it right now. We can't just think about ourselves. We cannot just think about ourselves, guys. We have to think about them. We have to think about the people that were so bullish on Bitcoin and then decided to sell their Bitcoin because they listened to a doom and gloom boomer and they thought Bitcoin was going to go down to $5,000 a coin or $12,000 a coin. We have to care about the people who thought that inflation is going to come roaring back and inflation is going to hold on a second, what the fuck's going on over here? Right. Yeah, they thought inflation was going to, come roaring back and we were just going to go into the dark ages of America in 2023. We have to care about these people. These people are extremely important as a counterbalance. These people provide us the ability to check our thoughts on the bullish side, and they provide us infinite amounts of entertainment. I told people that, people that I'm responsible for, I feel responsible for, in 2020, that the market would reach a new all-time high by July 26th. It happened by August 12th. I told people that I feel responsible for. In fact, here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to bring it up and read you 2023 predictions. All right. This I haven't put out on Twitter or anything like that. This is just like in my personal life. It's not on YouTube. It's not on anything, right? On the 9th of January, I sent this message out. And I said, here's my predictions for 2023. How many people do you guys want me to read out my 5 predictions for 2023 that I made on the 9th of January of this year? Do you guys want to hear this? Apparently the Senate just passed a $1 trillion spending bill. What a surprise. Right. So here's what I said to the people that I care about. My message titled, My Predictions for 2023. It was sent on the 9th of January of this year. Number 1, inflation will hit a downward spiral unexpected by the Fed. The compounded effect downwards will result in resumption of some form of QE and a looser monetary policy by August. That happened in March with SVB going bankrupt. Tick. Number 2, the S&P 500 and NASDAQ will have a 20% plus up year. I think the S&P is about 22% and the NASDAQ's up 50%. Number 3, President Biden will stop supporting the Ukraine war by summer in preparation for the new election cycle. Now, they didn't quite stop that, but they also got involved in a new war that's better for American politics. So I think that's like a half win, right? Number 4, the DXY, the dollar index, will fall to at least 96. I think it went to 98 at the low of the year so far, because there is still a few days left. And number 5, Bitcoin will close above its 200-week moving average, and we will have breached $30,000 at some point this year. Those were my 5 predictions for 2023 that I sent out on the 9th of January to the people that I care about. And I think done pretty well. Considering how now it might sound like, okay, this is of course this was supposed to happen, of course. But just think back to the beginning of the year. And I'm not a magician. I don't come up with this stuff because I'm a magician. I come up with this stuff because I can see through the bullshit. And part of the Fed's bullshit is the amount of talk that they give, because their ability to talk dictates how they can control markets. And that one of the Fed's biggest tools is not interest rates, it's the rhetoric. Right? It's the rhetoric that the Fed has that's quite important. And so, of course, they're going to use the rhetoric that they have to move the market in the direction that they want to move it in. And that's what's happened now. They were using rhetoric for the last two meetings, aka lying to you. And the market was stupid enough to believe it. Because the market's always stupid enough to believe it. Because you have to. Imagine if you start placing large positions against the Federal Reserve, right? Your bosses ain't going to be happy if you're a capital allocator. So the Fed has been using their rhetoric to drive the market for the last 2 or 3 months. And now they've got to a point where they need to prepare the market for what's coming next. And what's coming next is cuts. And I predict that we will see a rate cut by April of 2024. I'm not talking about looser monetary policy. I'm talking a rate cut by April 2024. I know everyone's talking about pushing it into October and all this other stuff. I am telling you guys right now, I think we are going to see a rate cut by April of 2024. Now, by the way, if you're the first time watching this, I want you to subscribe to the channel, because it's all good having, people read you the news, but really what I'm trying to do here is give you guys my perspective on what's happening in the markets and in the world, so that you can start to make sense of it for your portfolio. Also give you the benefit of the conversations that I've had with my parents about getting into Bitcoin, understanding why Bitcoin is the premier asset. So please help me spank the YouTube algorithm to put this content in front of more people. I would really appreciate that if you find any value from anything that I'm putting out. Now, Jerome Powell basically held a press conference to tell you the 3 rules of Bitcoin. Jerome Powell's press conference can be summarized by basically saying, you better stack your bags because I'm about to hit print. That's what he said. There was nothing else more complicated or more simple or anything like that. He basically told you exactly the rhetoric that I've been trying to tell you on Twitter. They do not have the ability to continue increasing rates. And he finally admitted it. You know why he admitted it? He admitted it because if he hadn't done, the market would have tested his resolve and then he would have looked stupid. So what he came out and did was admit it. But in his way, in a Fed speak way. He admitted it, right? So, where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Well, I believe this is going to be the start of the Santa Claus rally that typically comes every December. This is the beginning. The NASDAQ has hit an all-time high. A lot of people were telling me this year, oh no, everything's going to collapse, this, that, and the other. I still remember who those people were in my personal life, and I sent them a message just with a laughing emoji on the chart of the NASDAQ today, which was quite entertaining. It's amazing. Why can't doom and gloom boomers accept defeat? Have you guys noticed that? They just don't they just don't accept defeat. I don't get it. They're just they're bitter in defeat. They're bitter in success. When doom and gloom boomers were right for the last year and a half. Right? Doom and gloom boomers were right. There's been a year and a half period where they were right. It was better to be a doom and gloom boomer than it was to be bullish as fuck. Why can't they accept anything. They can't accept a win. If it's a win, it's not good enough of a win. Like if the market collapsed 30%, yeah, but it's going to go down 50%. Okay. You know, hey, you were wrong. The market is at an all-time high. All right. These people can't. These people are miserable. That's why I always say you're much happier. You're much more productive, much more valuable to the society around you if you are bullish. Being bullish is the core status of humanity, because in order to raise humanity, you had to actually be bullish on humanity, right? So I want you to hug a doom and gloom boomer today. Hope that gives you some clarity about where I think the Fed is going and what's going on here. Of course, it's a live stream, so it's a little bit more, casual and all over the place. I would love for you to join one day on the live stream, and to do that, please subscribe to the channel so you can see when the live streams are happening. And of course, despite all of this, despite the Fed, despite the BlackRock, despite everything, there are still only 3 rules to Bitcoin. Step number 1, you buy Bitcoin. Step number 2, you shut the fuck up. And step number 3, you get fabulously wealthy.